What up, what up? Welcome back to Redhead MMA. Sorry it's been so long since I made a video. I was not expecting the last week or so to be so busy. I really wanted to make predictions for UFC 320 and a reaction video, but I had a bunch of stuff going on. But very pleased with how that turned out. Order is restored to the light heavyweight division. Can finally sleep again. It was the happiest I've been going to sleep after a UFC card. But we got another fight night this weekend. My personal favorite fighter, Charles Oliveira, is facing Mateusz Gamrot. I have predictions lined up for the entire card, so let's get through it to them. First up, we have Simon Oliveira versus Luan Lacerda, and I am gonna go with Lacerda by decision. I personally have nothing much to say. Both of these guys kind of suck, but Lacerda's younger and he's on less of a losing streak. And you could say that Oliveira, he won on Dana White's Contender Series, but he won by split decision. And at the end of the day, both of the are like BJJ specialists. So I think that's going to cancel out. No guy's going to get like a submission on each other, and so I think Lacerda is just going to grapple his way to a decision. Moving up the card, we have Julia Pilastri versus Carolina Kowalkiewicz. I think that's how you say it. Uh, but you know, Carolina Kowalkiewicz by decision. Uh, she hasn't won since 2023, but when she wins, it's actually a unanimous decision. Unlike Julia Pilastri, whose only UFC win is by split decision. I haven't watched either of these two fight before, so I'm just going off what I've been seeing from their wins, losses, and stuff like that. Moving up the card, we have Lucas Rocha versus Stuart Nickel, and I'm going with Lucas Rocha by round 2 knockout or TKO. And he has at least a win on the Contender Series. It's hard to judge Stuart Nickel just because he has only been a part of regional MMA. This is a UFC debut on Saturday, and it's really hard to judge a guy's performance in regional MMA because most people in regional MMA suck. So I'm gonna go with Lucas Rocha by round 2 KO TKO. And the reason I'm choosing round 2 is simply just because he won by round 2 knockout in his DWCS fight. So I'm just going to go with that. Moving up the card, we have Irina Alexeyeva versus Beatriz Mesquita, and I'm going with Beatriz Mesquita by round 2 submission. She has an excellent rear naked choke, and Alexeyeva, the Russian Ronda, one of the dumbest names I've ever heard, is on a 2-fight losing streak. So I think that BJJ specialist with a really good specialized submission in the RNC is going to do well against this woman on a 2-fight losing streak. Moving up the card, as you can tell, I'm not super into these fights. There are only a couple fights that have fighters I really love, but still making predictions for all. I'm still gonna watch the whole card. But this is actually a fight that I like: Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Peterson. I'm gonna go with Vitor Petrino by decision. Vitor has great grappling, which is kind of a rarity for heavyweights that are just going to blob at range. But I think Peterson won't be super susceptible to his grappling in BJJ since he is a heavyweight, and BJJ is kind of a myth at heavyweight. So I think he's just going to get held down the whole time. Maybe strike a little bit, but I think he's just going to get held down the whole time. And Vitor Petrino is going to coast his way to a decision. Next up, Rafael Filo, I think that's how you say his name, versus Clayton Carpenter. I am going to go with Clayton Carpenter by decision. I think this is going to be a very decision-heavy card. You'll see that in the rest of my picks as I go through the card. I think there's going to be very few finishes on this card. But Clayton Carpenter, both guys are really good at BJJ, so I think it's going to cancel out. Neither guy's going to be able to actually get the submission off on one another. And Clayton is the overall better striker. So, the two guys have great BJJ, but one's the better striker. I'm gonna go with him. But Philo hasn't been KO'd, so I'm not gonna just be like, oh yeah, Clayton Carpenter is the better striker. He's just gonna KO Philo. So I'm gonna go with Clayton Carpenter by decision. I think he's gonna point fight his way to a decision. Next up, Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell. I'm gonna go with Michael Aswell by decision. Uh, Ramos has. Oh, sorry, am I on the wrong fight? Well, oh yeah, sorry. Was on the wrong fight there. I'll edit that out. A little bedtime reference, but Michael Aswell by decision. He wins most of his fights by unanimous decision. And Almeida is a BJJ specialist, heavy BJJ specialist, and Michael Aswell isn't very susceptible to BJJ. And decisions also make up most of Lucas Almeida's losses, so I think it's going to work out well for Michael Aswell. Next up on the card, Ricardo Ramos versus Genghis Khan Ofli. I am going to go with Ricardo Ramos by decision. Ramos has at least won a fight in the UFC, which I can't say for Khan Ofli, but I don't know much about either of these guys, so it's really just coming down to me seeing like, okay, yeah, Ricardo Ramos has actually won a fight in this organization and not just in regional MMA. I'm going to choose Ricardo Ramos. Janata Diniz versus Mario Pinto. I'm going to go with Mario Pinto by round 3 TKO. Pinto is doing really well right now. You know, he won his DWCS contract, and he got performance of the night bonus in his debut. And Diniz could not pass the Marcin Tybura test at heavyweight, which basically proves if you're actually going to be in that top ranking in heavyweight or not. He couldn't pass that test. I was actually at that fight, UFC 309. And I remember it was a doctor stoppage. But yeah, that basically is the base of my thought on Denise. Oh wait, I actually forgot about. He brought Alvin Goonsy Hines to a decision. You know how skilled that guy is. Pretty sure he got released because of being a PED cheat. So yeah, that's my justification for choosing Mario Pinto for this fight. Moving up the card, Joel Alvarez versus Vicente Luque. I'm going to go with Joel Alvarez by round 1 TKO. Joel Alvarez's last UFC loss was to Arman Sarukian, which is a loss that has aged very well. But he's on a 3-fight win streak, and Luque, he's on a 1-fight losing streak, with his last win being against Themba Gorimbo. And in my opinion, that's just not as good of a last win as Jakar close. So that's why I think Joel Alvarez is going to win this fight. It makes me sad because I actually really like Vicente Luque, but his downfall, I think, is in full swing right now. So moving up the card, we got the co-main event. We got these last 3 fights: the Luque fight, the Figgy fight, and then obviously Charles Oliveira Vs Gamrot. These are the fights that I actually care about. So I'm actually going to start getting a little more in depth on this one. I'm going with Figgy by decision. Montel Jackson is making a huge jump in the rankings. I believe it's 15-6. He's ranked 15th. Davison Figueiredo is ranked 6th. So I think that's just not going to work out. I feel like a huge ranking jump isn't good for these up-and-coming guys. Even though actually I think Montel Jackson in the UFC for a little while. I don't know if he can really be considered an up-and-comer anymore. But and people are really underestimating Figgy. Or the UFC is really putting him against Montel Jackson. He's only on he's on a 2-fight losing streak. But when you look at the caliber of his losses, you got Corey Sandhagen and Petr Yan, 2 top-level guys in the bantamweight division. Corey Sandhagen just fought Merab and did honestly better than most have against Merab. And then Petr Yan good chance he's next in line for the belt. So these are the two guys that he's lost to. Like, he has only lost a top tier competition in bantamweight, and the UFC decides to match against Montel Jackson. That makes absolutely no sense to me. And Montel Jackson, to add on to that, currently has zero currently ranked wins in the UFC. None of the guys that he has beaten are ranked right now, which makes it even more enticing to choose Figgy by decision. I don't think he's going to get a crazy finish in this one, but I think it is going to be awesome to see Figgy finally get back in the win column in his fight against Montel Jackson. And finally, we have the main event, Charles Do Bronx. Actually, he's no longer Do Bronx. He's the Predator now. Can't say I'm exactly thrilled about that name change against the Gamer. And we're going with Charles Oliveira by decision. I'd be more inclined to choose Gamrot if he wasn't on like 2 weeks' notice. But even then, I still think I'd probably pick Charles. And I definitely have heavy bias. He's my favorite fighter. But at the end of the day, Gamrot has no wins that are the caliber of Charles Oliveira or Charles Oliveira's wins. And I'm not going to count Charles Oliveira out simply because he lost to Ilia Topuria, which many people argue, who many people argue is the number one pound for pound in the UFC right now. I think he's coming back a little early. I think he should have come back at the earliest December, but you never know. He might not have taken as much damage as we thought. We're going to find out. And I think he's going to win by decision because their skills, they're both heavy on grappling and can both strike. They're both good on the feet. They can both grapple. So I think their skills, like one of the prelim fights that I was talking about earlier, I think the skills are just gonna cancel each other out. So that's why I think it goes to decision. So that's my final pick for the main event. Charles Oliveira by decision. Finally gonna get the boy back in the win column. But let me just say, if Gamrot does win, uh, that Dan Hooker is a lot better than we realize. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. Dan Hooker is a lot better than we realize if Mateusz Gamrot beats Charles Oliveira. Actually, I have one more thing to add about Gamrot. His last win, I don't know the guy's first name, but I know his last name is Klein. He's unranked. It's his last win, and now he's fighting the number one lightweight contender. Let me see. Charles Oliveira is the number one lightweight contender real quick. Sorry, number 4 lightweight contender. So jumping from an unranked guy to losing to Dan Hooker, fighting an unranked guy and winning, to now fighting the number 4 ranked lightweight in the world. I don't think Gamrot's going to be able to do it. Scamrot, your time has come. It's over. Get ready to lose to Charles Oliveira. So yeah, those are my picks for UFC Fight Night Rio. Oliveira versus Gamrot. I'm just opening up all of my predictions to show my final one. So, do a quick recap. I'm going with Lacerda by decision, Kowalkiewicz by decision, Rocha versus round 2 knockout, Mosquito versus by round 2 submission, Petrino by decision, Carpenter by decision, Asbel by decision, Ramos by decision, Pinto by round 3 knockout, Alvarez by round 1 knockout, Figgy by decision, and Do Bronx by decision. These are my official picks. If Make sure to subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed. If you want more predictions, I'll be doing an immediate recap right after. So another video the end of the night tomorrow. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.